on recording. Go for it.
Fantastic. Good evening, South Africa, Zimbabwe, I think Namibia, I think might have some people from Mauritius, Belgium, Holland, some other parts of Europe. Very good evening. Andrew Eaton here. I hope you well. As you guys have seen, I've just been spending a little bit of time chatting to Todd before the webinar starts. Yeah, I think it's a great thing. If you guys can all just type in the comments box where you are dialing in from, so we can just see where everyone is. But very, very excited to have Todd on the call. As you can see, Todd is sitting in his car. He's actually away with his family at his river lodge, and he's actually drive about, how long, I don't know, I've forgotten already how far. I said about 30 minutes to get to where he's got some connectivity that shows you the dedication of what the true leaders and mentors and in our profession are willing to do to help us. So Todd, really, really appreciate it. For those of Todd is well known to many of us. He's come out to South Africa 3 or 4 occasions now, specifically for our team. The first time he came out here was on our invite, and we did more of a tour for the network marketing profession on that particular trip. But Team Jai Hughes has had a 5-6 year relationship with Todd now. He's a friend of mine. He's a friend to many people in our business now. I've known him over the year, but more importantly, he's one of our main mentors that we listen to. He's had a huge impact on our team business over the last couple of years. And of course, Todd, the people that have been on this journey over the last couple of years know you. They know what I've said right now is true, but we have a lot of new people on this call as well. People who've joined our business over the last couple of months. People, to you, this is what I want to say. Todd is one of the top trainers in the network marketing profession. He's also one of the most sought after trainers in the network marketing profession. He consults to teams, he mentors individuals, he consults to companies. From my personal point of view, is definitely one of the 3 people in the profession that's had the biggest impact on my career. So very grateful that you're here again tonight, Todd. You know, we chatted about, Todd was on our top 10 call a couple of weeks ago. We asked the top 10, what do you want me to talk about? What are some of the challenges you guys are facing? What are some of the things you'd like me to discuss? So we discussed a few things with them. And Todd, thank you once again for traveling 30-40 minutes from your holiday to get cell phone coverage so that you can do this talk with us from your car. So people, I'm gonna hand it over to Todd. What I'm going to suggest for the next time that Todd spends with us is shut out all distractions, take notes, because some of you I know are very new to our profession, and Todd is one of the few men that I would entrust with giving you the advice that you might need at this part of your journey. So Todd, thank you so much for joining us, and over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Andrew, and great to be here with everybody. Good. This is good evening for you guys. It's 10:30 in the morning here. As you can see, I'm in my car, and that's the thing about being an entrepreneur. When you get it going right, you can be out playing with your family and doing what you love to do, and you need to go run in and do some business, you get the flexibility of doing it. And if it wasn't for the network marketing and direct sales profession, I wouldn't be sitting here sharing with you right now in front of a Starbucks 30 miles away from my river property where there is no cell phone reception. So great to be here. I want to talk real frankly with you today about how to make the most from your Carrot Bars business. So I'm a big fan of keeping things as simple as possible. I think sometimes in network marketing, we can complicate things. And like when I'm talking on stages, I talk about network marketing on a technical degree of difficulty scale. 1 is laying on the sofa, doing nothing. And 10 is maybe doing brain surgery. I would assume that's probably pretty hard. I think network marketing is about a 2, maybe a 2.5 in terms of technical degrees of difficulty. But oftentimes we make it out to be so much harder on ourselves than we need to. And I know I did. I know when I first started network marketing, in fact, at the end of this month, at the end of August, I know we're still in July, at the end of August, it'll mark 30 years of being in the network marketing profession. So the perspective that I come from for you guys is a field perspective and a lengthy perspective. So for those of you that I know a lot of you, and I see a bunch of people who had commented that have come in. I see some names that I recognize, but some of you that may not be familiar with me, you know, I've spent my entire adult life in the network marketing profession. Last 15 years, I've been traveling all around the world to teach the things that worked well for me in the field. I think I've been to South Africa now, I think 3 times to speak for you guys on different occasions. And, you know, so I get a very interesting viewpoint with what I do. And it reaffirms all of the things that I've learned over the years on creating success now, as well as creating longevity and long-term success. So I want to just kind of talk to you about a few items and do my best to help you kind of see the light and go, wow, this is worth me putting the effort and energy into. It's not maybe as hard perhaps as I might think it is. And a lot of it, when I say think, a lot of our success, in fact, most of our success has to do with, you know, mindset. And it's interesting to me. I want to talk for a little bit about mindset this morning for you guys, because I think sometimes people are looking for maybe there's like a deeper answer. Like, there's got to be more to it. There's got to be something. It's, you know, you got to give me the trick magical question that's going to make me rich, right? And there's not. I mean, scripts, of course, may play a role in what we do in terms of carry on conversations with people, but the biggest battle that we all have to win a victory over is the battle between our ears. And so mindset to me is the beginning. In fact, the last time I was in South Africa, I'm pretty sure I put this up on the slide, but I have a formula that I teach when I'm teaching network marketing, and it's MASS, and it's mindset plus action plus skill set equals success. So mindset being the first part of that acronym, mindset. So I would implore you, and I would have you ask yourself these questions. Are you working every day to make sure that your mindset is in a proper space so that you can go make a bigger impact out in the marketplace? Who you're surrounding yourself with, who are you listening to? You know, everybody's got an opinion. And especially when we get started in a network marketing business, everybody's got their opinion. Even the ones that have never done network marketing, they have opinions. Sometimes those opinions are positive, sometimes they're not. I learned a long time ago that everybody's got an opinion. And if I'm going to listen to somebody's opinion, then I'm going to listen to the opinion of somebody that's created success in that which I'm about to embark upon. And so I don't know, you know, I can't claim that I know everybody here or know what your situation is, but you're in a profession that has been around for a very, very long period of time, over 80 years as an established profession. The network marketing profession globally does over I think last year, $190 billion globally, in operating in, you know, pretty much every country around the world. It's big business, and it's a business that, look, I'm sitting here in my car, drove 30 miles to come and see you guys because I can. And the only reason I can, I don't know, what day is today? What is today? It's Monday. It's Monday. What are most people doing? They're stressing out and they're going to their job to work for somebody for the week. And I'm out here playing with my family. I showed up because I made a promise to Andrew and you guys to be here. But the beautiful thing about getting things going right in this space is the leverage aspect of what we do. And I'm going to get into some of the nitty gritties of how we do what we do and how to make the most from your Karatbars experience. But I think it's really important for you to, first and foremost, kind of look at yourself and go, am I doing things on a regular basis that are going to positively impact my mindset? Like the fact that you're here, for example, this is a great sign that you're here, that you're eager to learn, that you're eager to put stuff in here that's going to help you be better out there. What are you reading? What are you watching? Who are you listening to? Who are you hanging out with? Like, for example, if I was in your company right now, personally, I'd be looking at who the top producers are, and I'm going to do what those people are doing. There's a phrase I learned a long time ago: to do what the doers are doing, don't do what the don'ters are doing. and I know that don'ting is not a word, but you can go with it. My point goes back to the opinions of other people, both outside of the network marketing profession as well as inside of your company. So in every, there's people that sometimes don't understand network marketing and they are down on it, but they don't know anything about it. And it's crazy because sometimes people are down on the things they're not even up on. So they'll make fun of or poo-poo something that they don't know anything about. I'm sure we've all met somebody that's like, oh, I don't know about that. That's terrible. And I'm like, well, do you know anything about it? No, I just heard about something. So they don't even know anything about it. So we have to be very protective of who we allow into our circle. Yeah, the dream stealers, right? People that are, and then there's sometimes dream stealers in the business. You have somebody that's in the business, and this is what I mean by do what the doers are doing, don't do what the don'ters are doing. Because if I was in Carrot Bars right now, honestly, I'd be looking at the top leaders. I'd be looking at, all the people that are doing and that are rising, that are coming up with all the reasons to make something happen, rather than the ones that are like, oh, I don't know about this, or I don't like that. I'm like, I don't have the time to listen to somebody that's not fully plugged in. So I would say first and foremost, you've got to be doing something every single day to make sure that your consciousness is in a position where you're able to propel yourself forward. Because here's the thing, if you're ever hesitant, and I want to ask you guys this question, if you're ever in a position where, first of all, you're here, which is great, you're obviously excited about the Carrot Bars opportunity and you want to be successful at it, and if you're ever in a position where you could engage somebody in conversation about your product, about the business, but then you don't. Instead, you hesitate. Like the opportunity presented itself, but then you don't. I want you to ask yourself at that very moment of hesitation, it's very important for you guys. What was the predominant thought or feeling that was going on inside of me which caused me to not say something? That's something that you have to get control over, because if in that moment you pause or you hesitate, you have to find out why you paused or hesitated. And what is that? Is it a fear of something? Is it not knowing what to do, not knowing what to say, being unsure of yourself, being unsure of what to do with that person if they were to take a look at this, being worried about how you're going to be judged, or if you're going to be judged, being worried about being rejected? I'm telling you right now, that, especially for you newer folks, that's super important for you to be essentially clear on what's stopping you. If we can't have honesty with ourselves and get clear with what's holding us back, how are we ever going to break through that? So a lot of what we do in this business is having to be self-reflective and being honest with ourselves. Like, I got to be honest with, like, here's a question I want you to write down. At the end of the day, when you finish up your day and you're finished, you're like, okay, I'm wrapped up, I'm going night-night. I want you to ask yourself this question, write this question down. Would I hire me? Based on how you showed up today in your business, I want you to ask yourself the question, would I hire me? And if the answer is yes, then you're obviously going, you're like, heck yeah, I'd hire me. I crushed it today. Well, then that's good. But if you were to be honest with yourself and you're like, no, I wouldn't hire me, I'd fire me. Are you kidding me? I didn't do anything today. Why? What? Because this to me is where a lot of people get caught up. I mean, like, honestly, the thing that I hear, the most common thing that I hear from people, the most common, is I'm struggling to be consistent. Somebody's in the business, they want to create a difference for themselves, but they're struggling to be consistent. So it's important for you to figure out, if I'm not showing up, why am I not showing up? And your sponsor can't do it for you. The only person that can do it for you is you. So it takes a high degree of personal responsibility and a lot of honesty, to be frank with you. You got to be honest with yourself about whether you're showing up, or if you're showing up, like, if you're not showing up, why are you not showing up? So this whole mindset thing, I want to start with that today, because to me, it's like really it's the fundamental foundation of all of your success. Because if we're not thinking, hey, I can do this, I see myself being successful, I know I can do this, then how are we ever going to be effective out in the marketplace, right? Now, so, and I don't, like, I could sit here and talk to you guys about mindset for hours. I'm not gonna do that this morning. But what I do want to talk about is, like, how are you going to make it big in this business? First of all, I think what you guys are bringing to the marketplace is pretty cool, because not only does the product itself make you money, which is a rarity, by the way. Like, a lot of companies have products and services that they bring in the marketplace, and it's a product or service, but we either consume it or use it. In your case, the product that you guys, or the products that you're bringing out into the marketplace, are actually something you can make money on, the actual product, right? The product is, you're able to earn, right? With that, not even talking about the compensation plan side of things or the building side of things. So you have a really like a double-edged sword that a lot of people, actually most honestly, don't have in network marketing, where the actual product is a moneymaker for you. And to me, that's a pretty glorious thing, to have something that you're bringing out in the marketplace that in and of itself actually makes you money. But here's the thing I want to talk about in terms of how you're going to make it big in this business. You got to understand this, and this is never going to change. It always has been, always will be. It'll never change in the network marketing profession. The number one activity that leads to revenue is prospecting, exposure, right? So you have to understand and come to grips with, if you're going to make money, significant money, like, you can have all the, you can have all the product and all the gold and all that stuff, and you have basically an asset, but the money is made by you building a team of people that are perpetuating that process, where you're finding other people that have a desire to increase their personal wealth and have a desire to participate in a business where they can create a leveraged stream of residual income, where you could be camping out with your family and not worried about whether you're getting paid or not, right? And the way that occurs is through exposure. So one of the things, one of the biggest things I teach on throughout the world is prospecting, right? It's the number one activity that leads to revenue. And so a few items that I would suggest for you in terms of just kind of getting yourself into a position of knowing, are you moving in the right direction? Are you doing daily reach outs? Like, to me, if you're in the business, you're here, you're obviously eager to learn. If you're here on this webinar, then you clearly have a desire to figure this game out. Well, the name of the game is exposure. So, in fact, Andrew knows I do this on every stage I speak on. I'm going to do it even though it's a car stage, I guess, for me. But because I think there's a lot of people that may not have seen me speak before. I want you to do something in your notes for me, because I think it's where you guys are at. It's probably afternoon or evening. Draw a little box on a piece of paper in your notes, wherever you're taking notes. Just draw a little square, okay? This is to me where the rubber meets the road. So what I want you to do is, in the box, and I'm going to actually change the question a little bit than I typically do. How many new people did you talk to today about the Carrot Bars opportunity? Not about the product, but how many people did you reach out to today? And that's the number you're going to put in that box. In that little box, put in the number of people today. And I'm curious, like, if anybody wants to share with me in the comments section, I'd love to see the numbers. What's your number? How many new exposures? Be honest, because this is like a reflection, a personal accountability opportunity for you to get real with yourself. So I see 5, 2, 5, 3, 16. That's a good day. 3, 2, 0, 1. 30. That's a big day, Greg. Good job. 2, 4, 15, 3, 11. So can you imagine what would happen if every single day? And I love it. I love to see the numbers. I'm seeing numbers, because if the numbers is 0, in my opinion, if you're any day that you're doing the business where you're setting dedicated time aside to do the business, and you have a 0, like you ended the day and you're like, I didn't talk to anybody today about this business, then you're not in the business. You're really not. So I did a radio interview a couple months ago, actually 3 months ago, with this syndicated radio talk show, and they were asking me, because in 30 years I've never had an implosion. I've never had, like, you know, I've had this like good, long, successful track record of upward mobility. And I've never had this like giant dive and ups and downs. And the reason I haven't is because of habits, right? The guy asked me, he said, well, what's the number one reason? I said, well, it's two. I said, the first and foremost, I said, every single day I focus on revenue producing activity. There never does a day pass where I don't go out to drum up new business. So that, to me, if you're in this business, you have to, like, in fact, I would even say this. I would say that you suggest a daily minimum for yourself. Like, you don't go to bed until you've reached out to X number of people. Like what's the minimum daily number of reach outs could you do, like, without fail? Like, I run accountability programs. One of the first things we do is we have people pick a number. What's the number for you? Like, none of you leave the house naked. You don't get up in the morning and walk out of your house naked. You get up and you get dressed. You probably brush your teeth, take a shower, maybe shave, and then you're out the door. You get ready. Nobody walks out the house. I mean, I don't think they do. I'm pretty sure you don't. It's just what you do. So why not what you do be setting a daily number of reach outs that you're willing to commit to on a daily basis, specifically to introduce people to the business? Because here's the thing. It's when you have a product that is as valuable, literally and figuratively, as what you have with Carrot Bars, it can be really easy for you to just talk about the product and not talk about the business. And I would implore you, I think, honestly, you're doing yourself a disservice by only talking about the product. If you feel, and I think all of you do, you wouldn't be here if you didn't. I think that if you really feel that there's value in the product and what you guys are bringing into the marketplace, then it would make sense that talking to people about the business would be a natural attachment to that. If I was building Carrot Bars, I wouldn't be talking to anybody without talking to them about both the product and the business, because the two go hand in hand. And quite frankly, your bigger money is getting to be made by building a team. So when I ask that draw a box question, I would be really clear with yourself and go, how many people am I reaching out to daily about the business, not just the product? Because it's the thing is, like, your product has got such high value to it that it's super easy to I can just talk about the product. I don't even have to talk about the business. But then you're missing the majority of the benefit by not talking about the business, because you're missing the whole leveraged opportunity aspect. Yeah, you're creating wealth and you're creating, you're increasing your net worth and you're gaining, but you're not really gaining until you make sure that you're talking daily about the business. So my challenge to you guys would be ending every day and being really clear with yourself. And even, like I said, setting a minimum. Like, I see D is like a 5. I'm going to do 5 a day. D, I would say, great. And make it your new rule. I don't go to bed until I've reached out to X number of people. Now, let me give you a quick example. What if, let's just pick the number 5. What if every single day that you worked your business, my main goal is I don't go to bed until I've done 5 reach outs, no less. I literally cannot go to sleep at night. Just like I can't leave my house naked. I can't go to sleep at night until I've reached out to 5 people. If I've gotten to my minimum of 5, then I can say I did what my DMO, Jock, he's got 23 and 3. What's your DMO? Like, what's your daily method of operation? What's your daily minimum? And I wouldn't say your minimum becomes your maximum, but I do think it's critical for people to set a daily minimum on what they're willing to do regardless. And what if for the next 365 days, the next year, you lived up to your minimum every single day of reach outs about the business? It would be impossible for you to fail. It would be impossible. The thing that I find happen a lot is people lie to themselves into thinking that they're doing the business, but they're not. And I think it's really, really critical for us to be honest with ourselves about our personal daily production, right? I mean, this is part of it. Like, team building is another big element, working with our organization. I'll talk a little bit about that today, but that personal production, personal reach outs, personally taking people through the system. And the other thing, speaking system, you guys have a system. And I'll just say this, like, if I was in with you, I would be using the system. I would be married to the system. I would be married to the process. I think, I don't know, there's a small investment on using the marketing system that you guys have. That's the cost of doing business. I would absolutely suggest and say, and I'll even say this, if you're not following the system to the T, you're not going to succeed at the level that those that are. And you're creating, it's kind of like, so over here, you can't see it, behind me, well, there's a Wendy's behind me, I think, but I won't use that. That's not exactly the perfect example, but McDonald's, right? McDonald's is the greatest example of duplication anywhere on the planet. Probably not healthy for you, but if you were to eat a Big Mac in the US or South Africa or Europe or Canada or wherever you go, it's the same Big Mac everywhere you go. And the reason it is because they have systems that they follow. So my first job at age 16 was working at McDonald's. And you can't mess up making a Big Mac or making a whatever, quarter pounder, whatever they are, because there are exact systems that are followed, which makes it the same everywhere you go. So I would say that for you guys to succeed in this, you need to make sure that you're marrying yourself to the system and let the system do the work. Like, the cool thing is you're basically tour guides. You pique somebody's interest, you put them through the system, you put them through the process. But if you're not using the system, it's kind of like I bought a McDonald's franchise and I said, okay, I think I want to make tacos here. And so I've already broken the system now. And in that example, if we were literally talking about a franchise, if you bought a McDonald's franchise for $1 million US, which is about how much it would cost you, and you decided you wanted to serve tacos, you know what's going to happen? They would strip the franchise from you because you're not following the system. Now, in network marketing, we can't say, here, we're stripping it from you. But the reality is you're doing exactly the same thing. You're breaking the system if you're not following the process. So I know that Andrew and the other leaders in the organization have systems for you to follow. I'm aware of what the systems are and what you do. I'd be looking at yourself. Are you following the system? Or are you trying to reinvent the wheel? Because people that come in and try to reinvent the wheel, they don't succeed. And then what happens also, not only are they not succeeding because they're not following the process, but none of their people are going through the same process that they should have gone through. So we're already creating a broken opportunity for people to create success, because if I'm not following the system, my people aren't going to follow the system. Their people aren't going to follow the system because nobody was taken through the process of the system. So I've seen what you guys have available to you. I would say you follow the system, you follow it to the T, you let the system do the work. You don't have to be the expert. All you have to be is essentially a tour guide. Pique somebody's interest, take them through the process. Certainly, and one of the most valuable things that has ever existed, I'm going to start my car because it's getting a little warm in here. Get a little air conditioning in my car. Another thing that's super important for you guys to understand is the power of third-party validation. I know that Andrew, my radio is up. I know that Andrew and the other leaders teach this, but from an outsider perspective looking in, and someone that's done this for a really long period of time, the people in my organizations historically that have made the most money are people that incorporate third-party validation and you edify their experts and do three-way calling. I can look back and give you countless examples. I can give you names of people. I'm not going to do it, but I can sit here and rattle name after name after name of people that I worked with in my team. My friend Mark, worked with him for years. Mark hit me with more three-way calls than anybody in my organization combined. He recruited more people than everybody else in the entire group. Why? Because he did the work, he followed the system, and the system included third-party validation. So I would ask you, if you're not consistently utilizing third-party validation in the system and following the system, then you're missing, honestly, what's probably one of the magic ingredients of enrollments. I pique somebody's interest. I take them and put them through the video or whatever that's inside the system. They like what they see. I put them on the phone with my expert. I get them on a third-party validation call. Because in all marketing, just so you understand, social validation is king. In network marketing and in traditional marketing, we see it everywhere. You see someone that's like you, similar to you, that's doing it. Oh, well, if they're doing it, maybe I should do it. Oh, this person that looks like me is, eating that particular thing. Oh, well, gee, they must, I'm like them and they're saying it's good. Maybe I should try it. It's a basic concept, but it's a very powerful concept. So edifying, building others up. Like, to me, like when you're able to give credit and build somebody else up, like if I was working with Andrew and I was on the team and Andrew is my sponsor, and I took somebody through the video and they liked what they saw, I would say, hang on a second. I would go grab Andrew. I'd come back and I'd say, hey, John, are you back? Yes, I am. Listen, I was able to grab a very successful business partner of mine who I've known for the last 4 years. He's an amazing human being, one of the most dedicated entrepreneurs, honestly, that I've met in most of my life being an entrepreneur personally. And this is a gentleman that you're going to actually have the opportunity to personally work with. He's the leader of the team. He's one of the most exceptional trainers that you're ever going to have an opportunity to meet. And, somebody who's, like I said, is going to be personally working with you. So I wanted to have you guys meet. So I introduce Andrew to my prospect, and my prospect's automatically going, wow, I can't wait to talk to this person, because I built Andrew up. So that's a very, very important process, or part of the process in doing a proper three-way call. And then the other thing is, like, I would say there's like, smart people study the success of other people. So, when I said earlier, do what the doers are doing, don't do what the don'ters are doing, I think it's really important for you to make sure that you are looking at, like watching and paying very close attention to what other successful people are doing. Because one of the phrases I heard, like, literally 30 years ago, hey, if you want to be successful, find somebody who has what you want and do what they do. I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. That seems pretty simple. You mean I can find, okay, well, and I remember this guy was 27 years of age. I was 22. And he wasn't making that much money, but I think he was making about $12,000 or $15,000 a month at the time. And I was making nothing. I was like, oh, well, that guy's got what I want. Because I couldn't have, honestly, at that time, at that age, I couldn't even fathom past like $10,000 or $15,000. That seemed like so much money to me. And I was like, okay, well, I'm watching him. Oh, well, interesting how he talks like that. He asks those questions. These are the habits that I see him in. These are the things that he's doing. I'm going to do my best to copy him, literally copying the success of other people. So I would make sure that and I think one of the best words that you can use is inquisitive and curious, being curious and eager to learn and wanting to know. I mean, you're here now, which tells me that you're eager and curious and you want to know. And then even within your organizational structure, I'd be looking at who are the people, Jacques, Andrew, Michelle, whoever they are, and look at them like, oh, that's a person. Yeah. Okay. That's a person who I want to emulate, who I want to call. I'm going to do my best to be as close to that as I possibly can, so I can start to emulate the habits and the processes that these other successful people are doing. Right. So studying the success of other people. I'll also say this, there's a phrase that I mean, it's very repetitive for me because I've heard it many times. I actually just put out a blog post on this morning. The fortunes and the follow-up. Most of your money is going to be made because you're willing to get back to a person. So I would make sure that, and I would even ask yourself this question: how's my follow-up game? Am I getting back to people, and am I doing so in a timely manner? looking back historically at all the business I've ever done, in the field and outside of the field, in any occupation, the reason I've succeeded in those occupations is because of my willingness to get back to a person. So when you pique somebody's interest about this opportunity, and then they like what they see, you have to make sure that you're getting back to them as quickly as possible. So let's say, for example, Susie's my friend. Susie and I are talking, and I said, hey, go take a look at this video. And I said, hey, when can you take a look at that video today? And she said, I can look at it right now. And let's say the video is 20 minutes in length, which I think yours is, right? When is the best time for me to get back to Susie? Tomorrow? Next week? No, in 20 minutes. So if she said, hey, I can go look at the video right now, I'm like, hey, great, Susie, I'll call you back in 20 minutes. Not waiting, because I have to say that because somebody who's newer to network marketing may think, oh, well, I'll get them the video. I'll let them like sit on it for a week or two, or a week or 5 days. Maybe they should look at it for a few days, and then I'll get back to them. The best time to get back to somebody on a follow-up is the moment that they reviewed the information. Let me also say this. Anybody that you've piqued their interest about, and they said, hey, listen, I just launched this new business. I'm super excited about it. I'd love to show you what I'm doing, or however you introduce it to somebody. And then you're sending them through the system, of course, using the system. You're getting them in front of that video. You have to understand that they're expecting you to get back to them. They're not thinking, oh, well, Todd's going to just shoot me this video and then, never get back to me. Most of your money is going to be made as a result of you getting back to people. So I would say, and Michelle, thank you for putting that in there. The question, how's your follow-up game? If you're going to rate yourself right now on a scale of 1 to 10 on your follow-up, 1, I am terrible follow-up, and 10, I'm the best there is, what number are you? And then give yourself that number, and then ask yourself the next question, what do I need to change in order for me to improve my follow-up, right? And then another thing, and I know Andrew's like, to me, especially with the nature of what you guys are doing, the nature of what you guys, I mean, you're not selling, vitamin pills or shakes or anything like that. I mean, you guys are in something that's a very cool thing to be in. Like that's a very easy conversation to have with a high level person. So I would suggest to you that you focus on recruiting up the socioeconomic chain, recruiting professional people, going after people that are, more. In fact, Greg, who just commented, he's in the real estate game. Like, one of my favorite types of people to prospect are realtors. In fact, I'll tell you real quick. Do me a favor. Maybe Andrew or somebody else can type this link in here. So this week I've got a number of different training webinars that are going on. If you haven't seen this, this is absolutely the focus point. Like, or certainly would be a high focus point for me personally if I was in your company. Would be recruiting professionals. If you got, what's the website? It's toddfalcone.com/pros, PROS. So maybe somebody can put that in there. Susie, if you can type that domain in there, toddfalcone.com/pros, PROS. It's a pre-recorded webinar. It runs several times a week, but I would suggest spending some time this week and going to watch that webinar because it's going to give you some insight on how to recruit up. By the way, just so you know, recruiting up is actually easier than recruiting down. It's easier to recruit somebody that's got success, got good things going on, than it is to recruit somebody who, and I'm not saying that we wouldn't talk to anybody and everybody could use an opportunity for sure. But I do think it's really important for you to understand the power of recruiting up and why professional people tend to be more receptive to a network marketing message. A quick example, since Greg commented about being, real estate. So what do realtors do? They call on people, they prospect, they drum up new business. They're totally independent. They make money on commissions. They got into real estate because they like making money. What do? We got an opportunity for them to have leveraged income without them having to leave their real estate career and the type of product that you're bringing into the marketplace makes perfect sense for them because they're all in a wealth accumulation state. Not only do you have a product itself that'll help them make money, but if they participate in the business, they can make money on both the product and the business, which is brilliant. And they got the capacity to do it. They've got the know-how. They're already doing what we do in network marketing, but they're just doing it someplace else. I was with Andrew the first visit in South Africa, and he took one thing from my course. It was a peak interest question. Do you at all keep your options open in terms of making any money outside of what you're currently doing as a real estate professional? And he put it to use. I know for a fact he's personally recruited over 200 people, mostly on LinkedIn, using this method. Professionals. I saw him do it. We were in Port Elizabeth. I remember we were in Port Elizabeth, and he shows me his laptop. He says, "Hey, mate, see this conversation?" I looked over on his laptop, and he's having a chat with a guy on LinkedIn. And there's my question. Do you at all keep your options open in terms of making money outside of what you're currently doing? And of course, successful people do. And then we were at his house in Salt Rock, and he's like, "Hey, check this out." And he shows me the genealogy, and there's the guy in the genealogy report. He goes, "Yeah, I sponsored that guy." I'm like, I love it. I love it when people take something that I've proven to work, teach it, and they actually do it. Because and the other thing is, to me, honestly, if I was in Carrot Bars, I'd be focusing a good chunk of my time specifically talking to professional people because they get it, they understand it. You start talking about gold, you start talking about investments, you start talking about stuff, they get it. Versus somebody who's like, "What's gold? I don't even understand what you're talking about." It's easier for them to comprehend than someone who may not have had a professional career. Not that somebody who hasn't had a professional career couldn't do this, couldn't figure it out, and there's certainly lots of people that do. But I would say if you want to accelerate the process, you put a bunch of professionals through the system. So I would encourage you this week to go through that, and make sure you have a pen and paper when you register for that webinar. It's a free webinar, and take notes as you're going through it because I cover some stuff and it works in every country. I know we have people from South Africa and Europe and other places that are plugged in here today. It works in the U.S. and Canada and Asia, and it doesn't matter where you're at. The method works. Period. Michelle even put the question there, which is great. And that right there, that peak interest question, that should be in your arsenal. Do you at all keep your options open in terms of making money outside of what you're currently doing? That should be a question that you ask regularly, daily, in fact. So I think, the one other thing I want to say, because I know we got limited time for today's webinar, or two other things. First of all, I would say, like, looking back, like I can look back and I have good memory. I can remember what's worked, what hasn't worked. I've learned a lot of lessons over the years. You learn lessons in life, right? You live life, you learn lessons. Sometimes you learn it the first time around. Sometimes maybe it takes a couple. But one thing I can tell you that has driven my businesses big time is events. Like, this is essentially an event. This is a virtual event, right? But getting people to something like this, like getting your teammates in front of something like this, like, wait a second, wow, I got some good stuff out of that. Okay, well, it improved my mindset. Oh, I got I didn't ever hear about that question. Do you at all keep your options open? Wow, I never thought about that. Oh, wait a minute, I didn't. Even the system, following the system, is that important? Yes, it is. Okay, go. So getting people in front of things like webinars. I think you guys have your Monday. I don't know if this is the Monday Back to Basics or not, or if you have that. I don't know. I mean, I think you have Monday Back to Basics. I think you got your Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday opportunity webinars, which I'd be plugging people into regularly. Your monthly Saturday trainings, big events like GoPro. As a network marketer, if I was in the field and I was you, I would be at every single event I could attend. I would be getting my people to every single event. I wouldn't be missing them. I wouldn't be going, I've been to the Saturday training before. I don't need to go to that one again. I'd go back over and over and over and over again, because also your people are watching you. Like, wow, Todd's here. Oh, this person's here. And Jacques asked the question, what's our roadmap look like for the next 5 weeks as you lead to, as the ICO closes September 4th? Your deal every single day is how many people can I expose this business to every single day? Tell me what else there is. What else do we do in the business other than expose people to the product in the business? I don't really know. I mean, yeah, okay, personal development, you got to learn. Yeah, I got to work with my team. If I'm working with my team, though, what am I doing? I'm helping them do presentations. I'm helping you talk to somebody. I'm assisting you in enrolling somebody as a customer or as a rep. So to me, Jacques, I think the main thing for everybody to focus on every single day is how many people can I get to every single day? Like, I would wake up in the morning and my objective is to get to as many people as possible today and to support those that are showing up in my business. That's the other side. I'm not going to get too much. I'm actually not going to, because of the time limitations, that's like another hour training or more. But there's two sides of the equation here. We recruit people, bring them in as customers, bring them into the business, and then we work with those that are in the business to help them grow the business. Those are the two things that we do, none of which involves sitting around thinking about doing business. Everything that we do is all about how can I put somebody on the product? How can I introduce people to this, what Care Bars bring to the table? How can I put somebody into the business? That's all we do. So to me, the daily method of operation is every single day. My main focus is exposure. Yeah, personal development. This is part of it. You're not going to spend all day on a webinar. You're not going to spend all day reading. You're not going to spend all day, we got it. Most of the time is invested in personal production. So I would be asking yourself, and I think, again, that goes back to the very first comment that I made is, in terms of how are you, after I, got done talking about mindset is what are you doing daily to expose? That draw box exercise to me, if we were to keep things just bare bones simple, that daily exposure and being real with yourself, because that's the thing. People say that they want to be successful, but then they don't do the work. I don't think it's because they're lazy. Some people might be, but I don't really think it's lazy. I think it's, there's a fear that's holding them back. And, Willem just asked a question, is exposure limited to social media? No, absolutely not. Picking up the phone, text messaging, calling, engaging people in conversation. It's anywhere, anyhow, anyway. So definitely not just limited to social media. I think it's in any way possible that you can reach out. And I think everybody should be doing everything that they can in any way, shape, or form possible to grow their business. If this was the only, let me just say this. This is kind of an interesting question to pose. If this business that you're in, this Care Bars business, was your only source of income, in other words, you didn't have a job, you didn't have money coming, the only way you could feed your kids and put a roof over your head was this business, you literally had no other choice. I know you do, but let's just make an imaginary situation for a second. If this was your only choice, you had to feed your kids, you had to make your car payment, the roof over your head, the only money could come from this business. Would you do things differently? What would you do? What would you do if your life depended on it? Because you would work as if your life depended on it. You would follow the system. You would massively expose people in any way, shape, or form possible, because you're like, man, if I don't put something in this business, I'm not going to eat. What if you treated it like that? What if you decided from this day forward, I'm going to treat this as if my life depends on it? Problem is, people come in here and they treat it like a hobby, not as a business. But then they get hobby income and they're wondering, well, why is my business not working? It's not working because you're not working the business. See that all the time. But for somebody who's like, look, think about that. I know that's not the real situation for most of you, but what if it was? What if it was? What if it was, oh, wow, I'm not going to eat unless I put somebody in this business? You would do whatever you had to do to make it work. And Kobus asked the question, what's the acronym stand for? Mindset plus action plus skill set equals success. MASS. Mindset plus action plus skill set equals success. Well, one other thing, I want to give this to you guys. So I just got out of the video production studio, Wednesday of last week, I think. I just produced a new training series. It's free. You can go download it. So I mentioned, I think I said, over a lifelong of being in network marketing, you learn a couple lessons. Well, I've learned a lot of lessons. I've learned a lot of what works and a lot of what doesn't work. I just produced a new video series, which is called the 10 biggest lessons I've learned in 30 years of doing network marketing. It's a video training series. It's free. I would say everybody who's here, you need to go watch it, because these are like, you're hearing from somebody 30 years in the business. I'm telling you, these are 10 of the biggest lessons that I've learned on video for free. I'm going to give you the website. It's toddfalcone.com/lessons. Maybe Susie can type that in for me, or somebody, or Jacques or somebody. Appreciate that. toddfalcone.com/lessons. You can go, like, literally, boom, we deliver them to you, one lesson a day for 10 days. And it's big. These are the biggest lessons that I've learned. I know that if you go through those 10 videos, you're going to be like, wow, this is some good stuff. Because I sat down with myself. I was like, what are some of the biggest things? I had to sit down with myself and think, like, what are some of the biggest things that I've learned? I'm like, oh, well, that's a huge one. Oh, that's a gigantic one. And I put it on video for you guys. So it's 2 little chunks of information where you can go access some other training free of charge. You can go, do the 10 biggest lessons. And then sometime this week, I'd hop on one of my recruiting professionals webinars. So let's see. If you'd like Todd to come visit and train our team here in South Africa, please say I. I'm looking for the eyes. I would love to come back. Love to come back. Oh, look at that. I. Even somebody spelled it. John spelled it EYE. I love it. Love to come back. Andrew, thank you again so much. I appreciate you. I know we're getting towards the top of the end of this thing, but thanks for having me. And I appreciate the opportunity for me to get in front of your audience and share. I love what you're doing. I know you guys are absolutely crushing it. And honestly, my friend, you are one of the hardest working. And even when I was doing the made up edification in that 3-way example, I mean, seriously, you are one of the best guys I've ever met in network marketing. You're a super heart-driven guy. You look out for your team. I mean, you guys are in such good hands. You have, for some of you that are newer, I've known Andrew now since 2014, so 4 or 5 years, and the heart that this guy, the work that he puts into this is insane. So I would be following his every lead, as well as the other key leaders on the team that are making big things happen. So Andrew, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Todd, thanks for those kind words, man. And for those of you who don't know, Todd was the catalyst for me having an amazing year, the 1 year, just with that one phrase that he mentioned in recruiting professionals. Guys, I can honestly tell you it's a phenomenal course. And that one phrase made me so much money, because I finally clicked what was that one little missing link, that one little nugget. And every course you do, every training that you go to, every presentation, it's like Todd says, it's that one little nugget that you take away that can completely change your life. So Todd, I know it was a huge not effort, or sacrifice, but a huge commitment for you to leave your family for a couple of hours and drive 30 miles up the road and sit in a car park.
Well worth it, my friend. Love you.
So guys, I typed that there on purpose. When I said who wants to have Todd come out and speak to us, because we are busy talking about that. I may or may not have some news over the next short while for you guys on that. But there are very, very few people outside of our business, outside of our core business, that I would put in front of our team. I can count them on one hand. Todd will be the first to admit there are a lot of network marketing trainers out there who label themselves as such. But there are very few that have walked the walk and talked the talk and done all the rest. And Todd is one of them, which is why I'm so appreciative for the mentorship role that you've played in my life, Todd. And many people in the team. So we're going to make a plan to get Todd out here. It's about time he got back and visited the team. We just don't have dates yet. Guys, I hope you realize I hope you took cognizant of what Todd spoke about this evening. A couple of tidbits that you'll probably realize that he's reaffirming of what we've been saying all along. And it's good that you heard it from one of the top men in the profession, one of the most sought after men in the profession. To train. So Todd, once again, I know you want to get back to your family. People, I know it's getting on the hour now. We wanted to keep this less than an hour. I really appreciate the commitment you all made to get on here this evening. We had great numbers, Todd. We did more than what we thought. You asked me what I thought the numbers were going to be. You can see, I'm not going to tell you what I thought it was going to be. You can see the numbers there. We've done extremely well tonight. So well done, team. Well done, leaders, for getting the people on here. This is a continuous learning and self-improvement journey, people. Well done for being on here and for embracing that one aspect of your business. Todd, I hope you have a good holiday. For the rest of the time you're with your family. We'll chat soon. And guys, Todd will be in South Africa in the not too distant future. Let's call it quits. Michelle, you can end the webinar. Michelle is the person in charge.
Thanks,
Thank
Michelle.
you, Todd.
Thanks, Andrew. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys, for jumping on the Back to Basics. Please send this all to your team for those that haven't recorded. And don't forget, share it. And then I would suggest you discuss it with your teams. What were nuggets that they got out of this so that you can make sure that they've actually listened to it. So, Andrew, thank you very much for getting Todd on. I really appreciate it.
Michelle, before you close off, I see a couple of the Belgium and Netherlands people are saying, when will we come here? Guys, build a team of and justify us having to get Todd out there. It doesn't come free. So justify the numbers for us. And there's nothing that would excite me more than to bring Todd to the Belgium and to the Netherlands next year as well. So, guys, very excited. Michelle, thanks for being the MC type person and making sure everything runs smoothly.
Well, it is our Back to Basics. It was a really cool Back to Basics. So super awesome. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Amal. Great.
Awesome, guys. What a question tonight.
Thanks, Amal. Cheers. Bye.